Hi everyone, my name's Anthony Cummins and I am on a quest to find out the history of the samurai and the ninja. And the simple fact is, if you want to know about the history of the samurai and the ninja and the skills and the teachings and everything, you have to know about ancient China. Absolutely standard. So I've set about putting as much of Chinese culture, or aspects of Chinese culture, into a series of books and getting this information out to you. And this is the series of books started. So we've got The Ultimate Art of War, a step-by-step guide to Sun Tzu's illustrated teachings, and The Ultimate Guide to Yin Yang, an illustrated exploration of the Chinese concept of opposites, by me, that's me, Anthony Cummins. Now, they are coming as a series. They are, as you can see, basically in black and red array. So most of you will have seen, if you're on my channel, you've seen The Ultimate Art of War, broken down, everything in bit by bit, bite size, easy to understand breakdown of what Sun Tzu actually said. But I got through the posters today. This is the first copy in the UK. There's actually two in the UK now, one at the publishers and one at my house, and it's just a test print copy, and this will be out as of July 2021, and I'm going to show you some things from it. So basically, as I was going through all of like samurai and ninja stuff, it just became obvious that if you don't understand Yin Yang, then you don't really get the fundamental grasps of Taoism and bits of Taoism that came into Japan and Chinese influence and all of that, and how Taoism affects Zen, and it's massive. So what I did is I put together this wonderful, which I hope will be wonderful, book on Yin Yang, which I hope you guys are going to pre-order. And if not, if you're watching this video later, which is out now, I'm going to try and show you some of the stuff. But basically, it's divided into chapters, well illustrated. It goes through all the different aspects of the Chinese ideograms, all the different ways people think that they've actually brought it about. It talks about the directions and how directions are broken up, theories on how directions are broken up, the different animals and the different ways that the animals work within the world. Also the importance of understanding the fact that Chinese culture is in the northern hemisphere. That makes a massive difference to the way in which it is. Looking at how square and circular represent the earth and the heavens above. Also the idea of males, females through dragons and horses, etc. Let me just keep going. I'm going to ramble on. The examples of yin and yang as qi and energy, yang expanding, yin coming down, coming in. We look at all the different Chinese things, all the different ways, looking at yin and yang inside of each other, yang within yin, yin within yang. Is the dusk at night yang within yin or yin within yang? Which way round does it go? We look at the generations cycles, the potentials, transformation cycles, positives and negatives. We go into some of Chinese mythology to look at how it developed. Also the idea of seniority in yin and yang relationships, not master servant, but seniority in certain things. There's chapters, the full history of yin yang, things like that. I'm not going to go through everything, but I just want to show you to sort of get the idea. The way, of course, we talk about how the human is connected to yin and yang, the earth and the sky. We then talk, you might have seen these are simplified versions of concepts about how your body goes through sort of a reincarnation, if you like, or back to the Tao, how it really goes back and understands. We then start talking about the I Ching, building hexagrams and building trigrams, showing you how the I Ching works, transformation lines, etc, etc. We start looking at the different ways in which the hexagrams, the King Wen arrangement and things like that, of how they're all viewed as a single. Then we look at like the broken and solid lines, or the double and solid lines. I Ching stuff all fully there. There will be more on the I Ching in the future, but this is the basics. We look at the different versions of trigrams and the way that Western thought and Eastern thought differ from each other. Samurai helmets, samurai stuff like that. Now we start getting into the 4 quadrants of the Chinese universe, if you like, the 4 different ways, and then we've got all the different ways for where the animal is. So I've got you the kanji, the rat, what it is, what time it is, what degrees it's at, where it's at, each element, they're all there ready for you to use, so you can quickly use them. Then you get the stems. This is difficult for you to see on a video, but we get the stems, which is how sort of like, oh, it's too difficult to explain in this overview. Basically the periods of death. Then we get the second part. Let me show you. So we did the first part, history, then bringing yin yang into your life. So like we start to see how so we've got basically the way of heaven, the way of earth, and the way of humans, and we can start looking at how it comes into Chinese culture. I then go through a full description of qi, so people can start understanding how qi works and everything like that. So we've got yin qi and yang qi, or inki yoki, or yin qi. Chinese qi is actually spelled, it's actually pronounced as ki, but because there used to be an apostrophe in it, but bit by bit the apostrophe has fallen away. We then look at the directions of energy and qi in the universe, and where in spring, why is such and such a direction, the east actually, more powerful than other ones, and it's complex things like that I've had to break down and get them in a position where you can understand them. We look at feng shui, so how feng shui works, the basics of feng shui, where you should position your buildings in relation to mountains and rivers, etc, etc. Earthmen, hopefully you're still with me by this, guy, so I'll just speed up a bit. We talk about how yin yang is broken down, how it moves, how it changes, what is yin yang. Then we go through something which took me a long time to get my head around, which was the all of the different types of so for example, the cycle of support, the cycle of death, the cycle of strength, the cycle of creation, and like all of them, the transforming cycles are all there. The cycles that were there that have now gone, they're no longer in existence, if you like, they've finished. And Chinese medicine, we look at a bit of Chinese medicine, how things work, how they don't work in Chinese medicine. And then we look at emotions, and again back to Chinese medicine, the 4 different ways in which qi can be either deficient or too much, or whatever you've got in your body. I then go through shiatsu, and then at the end we start looking at, I'll speed up a bit now, guys. Also, we start looking at a bit more of the divination coins and stuff like that. And sex is in there as well, much to the pleasure of my girlfriend. Some of us just want a cup of tea and a biscuit. Some of us won't leave us alone. And then we get into a very important things like the difference between, I'll do it in Japanese because my Chinese is terrible, yuji, buji, ui, and mui. So those 4 kanji there. So those 4 kanji, the differences in them. And let's just draw this to a close. And then we talk about becoming the dragon. But one of the final things which I try to do in this series is a quick guide to yin yang. And that is everything in the book put into easy to understand bullet points, so that you can literally just go through it. And there it is, obviously the bibliography, and me and the cane doing our stuff, and the Samurai School of War. So that are they're the first 2 in this series of understanding Chinese culture. They'll all be identical like that. They'll be adapted inside to best fit their you know, what they've got. But that is my start for people understanding Chinese culture, so that they can understand the samurai and the ninja. Of course, you don't have to. You can just use it for Chinese culture, you can use it for medicine, whatever. But the point is, when I finish my series, which will be yay big, because I plan my life and my books all the way through. So I'm going to work till I'm 80, then I'm going to retire, and by that point, there'll be yay many on culture. It might then, the series might go on to other stuff, but Chinese culture will be there, so that when you read it, you're like, okay, I sort of get Chinese culture now. There you go. Done. You know what I mean? We're all right. We've sorted. So guys, all I ask you to do, if you're interested in my work and you're interested in Chinese culture, get yourself started on this series, and as the years go along, I'll add more to it and we'll build up, and join me in fully understanding the ways of the past. I'm one of you guys. I've sat there at an office working, doing my stuff, reading this like, oh, in my break hour, and I was like, I just don't get all this stuff. So I went to Japan, I went to the East, and I went out and I sort of started learning it all, and I built up my knowledge over the last 10 years, now 12 years, into understanding this, and I am trying to become a connector between ancient ways and you guys. I want you to see me as a connector. I'm not an expert, I'm not a specialist in all that, I'm just someone, I've got couple of degrees, I know how to process old information, I know how to process historical information and bring it to you guys so that it's quickly and easy to understand. So when you're on your dinner break at work, at the office, going, yep, get that, you don't have to sit and think about it. I'm just going to explain it to you in the easiest way without being patronizing, but in a way which you go, get it, no problem. So please support me, support Chinese culture and Japanese culture, and I'll see you next time.